happening, trips. It's Game of Thrones time! Let's talk GoT. I'm Andrew Grayson. Right, I'm going to get straight into things. Again, if you haven't seen Game of Thrones episode 3, do not watch this. Heavy spoilers. We're going to go into what happens in the episode, give you a quick rundown of what happens, and then at the end I'm going to give you some thoughts and predictions about what's going on in the series. So we're going to crack on. You have been warned. Spoilers ahead. So Game of Thrones season 7 episode 3, The Queen's Justice, and it opens with everything that we wanted to happen, what we've been waiting for season after season after season. Jon finally meeting Dany. So we get that first meeting. We see Jon arriving at Dragonstone by boat. Very trusting man, Mr. Snow. Gets his boat taken off him, gets his weapons taken off him. So they go up and they meet Daenerys, and what a very funny moment when she's Mother of Dragons, Breaker of Chains, they unbutton this, blah blah blah, rattling on for about 20 minutes her name, and then Big Davos, it's Jon Snow. It's brilliant. You can see it coming a mile off, but it's funny. Yeah, so Davos was very, very good. It's dead funny when you watch this scene, when you see Jon Snow and Daenerys going back and forward about what they want from each other, and obviously Daenerys wants him to take the name, he's like, no. You can kind of, you get the set, Jon doesn't want to be king. Jon is king through no choice of his own. I think if you offered him the chance of not being king of the North, well, obviously he's not taking it from Daenerys, but I think it's a stubbornness that he's taking it. You see that he is a good king, he's got high morals, and he's always going to try and do what's best for him and his people. But I just don't think he wants to be. Like when you see the, like, say, Daenerys talking about how she's born to rule the Seven Kingdoms, and Cersei, she's not giving up the throne and all sorts. I don't think Jon wants that. I think Jon's just kind of trying to care for his people up in the north. And it's also weird, like, see when you watch things like, obviously when you've seen Jon talking to Tyrion and he's like, oh, you've got scars, and oh, when was the last I seen you? And he's like, oh, you were pissing off the top of the wall. That was like 5 seasons ago, and it's like you forget, obviously, when you're watching it, like they've not seen each other in absolute weeks. I get the sense as well when we seen Dany and Jon talking, she's awful sensitive. Daenerys, you can kind of see the stresses of trying to take over King's Landing and starting to get into her when he's talking about how everyone's a child. Cersei, him, Dany, they're all children in this wee game squabbling when there's a real hazard, a real life-threatening thing coming towards them, and they're fighting over this silly throne. But no, I really enjoyed that, because you got to see the kind of dynamics that the two of them are strong characters, and that showed, like, neither of them kind of wilted to the other, which was really good. And then Varys comes in and lets her know that Euron had taken prisoner of the Sand Sisters and Yara, so she kind of changed her tune, because she's like, alright, I need my mate, so I'll maybe not always be as harsh on Jon Snow, because I need him to be my pal. So then we see a quick, we move on from that scene, we kind of see a quick look at Reek. He's not getting called Theon until he redeems himself once again. He is Reek. He's put onto a boat, and that's really all we see of him, just kind of confirms that he's alive. Then we get to, in my opinion, one of the best characters in Game of Thrones. He's been in 4 episodes. He was, or maybe 4 or 5. He's been in 4 episodes. Euron Greyjoy is a fucking hero. He's not. He's a villain, but I fucking love him. He's so good. So we see Euron coming through the streets of King's Landing. He's got this big parade. He's got Yara and Alaria Sands and all that, the Sand Sisters, on leads, walking them through. And he's sitting just gloating. He's loving it. He's brilliant. So obviously that's the gift that he's promised to Cersei. So we see him coming through, and he offers the sisters who killed Cersei's daughter in the previous series, and she's well done. You can have anything you want. He's like, look, you know what I want. Just come on. And she's like, look, you'll get that after the war. Oh, that leaves so much open. Cersei's either going to Cersei won't marry Euron. No way. She'll either kill him, or she'll lie, or she'll there is not a hope in hell Euron is going to marry Cersei. No way, no how. Either one or the other are going to turn on each other. But it's fun seeing the banter between the two, and the lines that made me fall in love with Euron even more when he's sitting having a wee squabble with Jaime, and he's like, you have turned your, Jaime's telling him, you have turned your back on us once before. I hope you do it again so we can get your head on a spike. And he's like, oh, maybe I'll put your head on a spike. and he's like, oh, but maybe you can give me some tips into what Cersei likes. And he's like, what? Does she like it rough or does she like it gentle? And then does she like a finger up the bum? Euron Greyjoy has got the biggest balls I've ever seen in Game of Thrones. You've seen all these things that Cersei has done and who she's killed and how she's killed them and this, that, and the other thing. You get the mountain standing in the background and he's sitting talking about fingering her arse. He's a hero, man. He's fucking brilliant. He's honestly one of my favourite characters and he's definitely top 5. So we then move on from that. We see Cersei in the dungeons with the Sand sister. Oh, sorry, it's Ellaria and her daughter. Cersei kind of goes through what she knows that she killed Cersei's. She knows that Ellaria killed Cersei's daughter, and she's not happy about it. And ironically, and kind of cruelly, she essentially killed. She's not dead. We don't see her die, but she poisons Ellaria's daughter the same way Ellaria poisons Cersei's daughter. So kind of eye for an eye. We then move on to her going up to Jaime for a bit of nookie. And Jaime talks about, look, people can't see us doing this because it's fucking sick. But she's like, I'm the queen, I do whatever the fuck I want, right? Sit on my face. Next up after that, she's talking to Mycroft. I don't know his name, but he's Mycroft in Sherlock Holmes, about how much money they owe the bank and how much gold they owe the bank and stuff like that. And he's like, look, you're fighting a war on all fronts and you've got no money. You're going to have to come to us for more money. You already owe us a lot of money. And she's like, look, I know exactly what the old line, Lannisters always pay their debts. Trust me, right? I know what I'm doing. Stay here for 2 weeks, and in 2 weeks I'll have your money back. So I think you see him kind of staying back, but you see that she's very clever, and he does use the line, "Oh, you're definitely your father's daughter. You've learned from him," because she talks about how he's going to try and back a winning side and it doesn't look like they're going to win, and he's like, well, no, that's not what we do, we just like to invest in the right. And she's like, yeah, exactly, back a winning side. And she talks about how Lannisters always pay their debts, but freed slaves, the Dothraki, and you can see him kind of going, oh, you're cleverer than she looks. We then go back to Dragonstone. We see Tyrion talking to Jon, and he's essentially he's doing what Tyrion is doing just now. Tyrion is trying his best to kind of keep everybody on the one side. His issue is with Cersei, and he knows he needs these people to work together with Jon and Dany. They need to collaborate together. They need to be together to kind of get anywhere in the taking of King's Landing, especially the way that Daenerys wants to do it without killing any innocent people. So he talks to her, he talks to Jon, and he convinces Jon. He's like, look, you've come and asked the Queen to give up what she wants to do, to come and fight these mythical creatures that we've never heard of, and we're having to just go on your word that it's the first time you've ever really met her. It's not really a reasonable thing to ask. And he's like, right, fair enough. So he then says to Jon, what can I do for you though? What if I give you one request? What would your request be? And then this is where we see Tyrion trying to convince Daenerys to give Jon the dragon glass. Now this is going to be important later on when we talk about theories and stuff coming into the future. So he's convincing Dany. He's like, look, we don't need it. You didn't even know it was there. It's going to keep him on side. It's ridiculous at the fact that they need to convince each other of these things. They should, like, they obviously aren't enemies. They've obviously got their own agendas and stuff like that. But the fact that he's like, you don't need it. You didn't even know it was there, and you're not going to give him it. Have a brain. But obviously that's probably what the hand's for. We then head back to Winterfell. We're back up there with Sansa. We see Sansa being in charge. You see her kind of. It's nothing really that important. You see her kind of, oh, we need food. Go and get food. They're not making that armor properly. All that kind of stuff. I tell you something, but Littlefinger is a deviant bastard. He's going to be trouble. He's going to do something, and I've got a feeling it's going to be something like he's going to betray Sansa. when Jon's away. He's every time he's on screen, I'm like, he's up to, he's planning something, he's doing something, it's snidey, and I don't like Littlefinger, never really have, and he's a deviant bastard, but gives us something else that's going on up there. Bran has finally made it home. Bran is finally home. He's finally seen his family. He's fucking dull as fuck, but he's so boring. He's like, him and Arya, I did not care about in the last season. They had moments maybe in the last season that were really good, but I didn't really care about their story. Bran is still, Arya's not in that column anymore. Bran very much is. Bran is dull. Even the way he's talking, he's like, oh, three-eyed raven. No, mate, crack a smile. You've just seen your sister for fucking, what, 12 years? Yeah, I'm not a fan of Bran. Arya was nowhere to be seen, so the last start we're waiting on to kind of get back to our home is Arya. So it'll be interesting if we see that in the next episode, but I don't think she'll make it. I think she's going to die, and I don't know why, but I do. I think she's going to croak. We're then at the Citadel, and we see the unspoken hero of Sam. Sam saved Jorah. You see Jorah's skin getting looked at over by the Grand Maester, and he's like, infection seems to be gone. So obviously what Sam had done worked. He asks Jorah, where are you going to go? And obviously Jorah's like, look, I thought I was going to die. I wasn't really planning on anything, but if anything, the two people that have saved me in my life are yourself and Daenerys, and I've pledged myself to Daenerys, so we're assuming he's going to kind of head back there. And poor Sam, I tell you, he shares a name with him, but he's the Samwise Gamgee of Game of Thrones. Nobody recognises that he's a fucking hero when he is. I mean, he's just saved Jorah, and he's like, right, go and continue to copy these scrolls down and wipe all the old boys' arses and all that kind of stuff. And it's the same with Samwise. Samwise in that film, Frodo was a wee bitch, Samwise was the hero. In this, Sam is the hero. Sam, he's helping Jon with the dragon glass. He's obviously taking care of a baby that's not his. He's looking after all these sick people. He saved Jorah's life, and he gets no thanks for it. So Sam's a wee bit of a hero. Hopefully we'll get to see something good come for him, and I think that's what they're kind of doing in this series. When you've seen like the wee montage when he was like serving the soup and cleaning the shit, and then he's having to do all the grayscale stuff, and he's still not getting a thanks for it. After that, we head back to not Castellar. We head back to Dragonstone, and we can start to see cracks in Daenerys now. We're seeing Daenerys really. She's starting to panic, and she's like, "Look, we need to go after it. Like, Euron is causing havoc. Like, I'm going to go out with my dragon, and I'm going to blow him." And they're like, "No, you need to be here. You're the queen. We need you here. One arrow, and you're dead." Blah blah blah. And it's you can see cracks in her, man. You can see her starting to panic. Maybe not panic, but you can see her starting to go, right, my plans aren't working here. Tyrion's not, or whoever's coming up with the plans, they're not working. So Tyrion, she's asking, right, look, if I'm not doing that, what's happening with the Unsullied? And Varys explains, look, the Unsullied are near like Casterly Rock, and they'll try and take that. And she's like, what are we expecting there? And he's saying, well, they know we're coming, so it's not going to be healthy. And then we got a brilliant monologue from Peter Dinklage. Peter Dinklage is such a good actor. We got a brilliant monologue about how Casterly Rock was built and how his father says, look, we need to have a sewer system. We're going to put the lowest person I know on it. He puts Tyrion on it. So Tyrion then tells Daenerys, and he's obviously already told the Unsullied, because we see this happening along with it, that the sewer system can get them up through. That's how he got his whores through, because his father didn't like him having whores in the house, or the castle, the house, in the castle, and he sees. So that's the way to get in. And they get in, and he's still doing this big speech about how Cersei's soldiers are fighting out of fear. Daenerys' soldiers are fighting for freedom and for the person that gave him that freedom. And then we see Grey Worm. He's like, I expected more. What's happening? He turns, and there he is, the baddest man in Game of Thrones. And now Euron is just laid waste to their ships, and the Unsullied are now stuck. And we go back, and basically what's happened is they've double bluffed him. Jaime's taken his army to the House of the Thrells, and they've given them Casterly Rock, and we see that once we get into, so the next scene we see Jaime talking to Elena. We see, and she's like, we were under the impression you were going to Castle Rock. Is it not important? And he's like, well, Jaime says it's important to me, but that's just my childhood memories. There's more for use here. And as we see, as they're going through all that kind of stuff, it's basically them getting the gold from the Tyrells because they're going to pay the bank. So not only is she a bit of a maniac, but Cersei's got some brains, and so does Jaime. Then we see a really good scene. Elena, she's talking about Jaime. She's like, "Oh, Jaime, how are you going to?" It's essentially we see she's under the understanding she's about to die, and Jaime's like, "Yeah, it's," and she's, how are you going to do it? And he's like, "Are you going to do it with your sword?" And she's like, that's Joffrey's sword. What did you call it? I can't even. It blanks me what he called it. But he told her what Joffrey called the sword, and she's like, "Oh yeah, Joffrey was a cunt." I tell you what, she's like the auntie or the granny at a family reunion that just doesn't give a fuck anyway. She's like the kind of relative that you've got, like when you turn up to it, she like tells you like you're fat, like you've gained weight, or that you've got a fucking haircut that makes you look like a virgin, and like she just doesn't care, and that makes her hilarious. Like she just doesn't care. She's lived through it all, and we see that when she talks to Daenerys, and she's like, the reason I've lived this for, I don't listen to men, I do what I want. And she's a great character. Obviously, you've watched it, so you now know she's no longer a character that we get. But you see again, she talks about how she's done some horrible things, and she's done terrible things, or she's watched people do terrible things for her and for the benefit of her family. But she's like, I just never realised how crazy Cersei was. And she's like, how am I going to die? And Jaime talks about how all the horrible ways that Cersei wanted to do it. She wanted to skin her and hang her and all these kind of things. And he's like, no, look, I've told them. So we see it's a poison. She asks, is it going to hurt? He's like, no. Jaime says, no, I made sure that it's not going to hurt you. And you see Elena as well talking to Jaime, and he's like, look, you're in love and you don't know what you're letting yourself in for. Cersei's in a nice way, she's a bad egg. That's the nice way of putting it. But and you can kind of see Jaime starting to, like, yeah, she is. She's not all that. And when you think back on it, Cersei's the real reason that Jaime's lost all his children. She's the main reason why it's all happened. She's the one that's been kind of happening behind. So I think we do see some doubt. And then the kicker, just before she takes the poison, just before she dies, she gives in one last wee dig about how she didn't want to be choking on foam, and she didn't want this, and she reveals that she was the one that poisoned Joffrey, and it hits Jaime like a ton of bricks. And it's genius the way they let it go. She's talking about how she didn't know that's what the poison did, but she's glad that's not going to happen to her, and she's making sure to tell Jaime this so that he can tell Cersei that it was her. It's a great ending to that scene as well. So that's us run through the episode. Now I'm going to move on quickly because my Surface is dying with battery. It's got like 6% left, but I'm sure I'm going to finish up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of go through theories at the end of each of our reviews. So I've got 2 theories for you today. One that I think is very plausible, and I think it will definitely happen, and I think you'll agree with it. And 2 is just an out there one that I've thought of in my head one day when I was thinking about Game of Thrones. So the first one I'll give you is the one that I think will definitely happen. So I've talked about in the past episodes that I think a dragon, we'll see a dragon die. That get kind of solidified more when we've seen the big crossbow. The big crossbow that they're developing in King's Landing for the dragons. So I think one of them will die and will turn into an ice dragon, and then from that I think we'll see eventually that crossbow is going to need to get used, and you're going to see a big hoor, a dragon glass arrow that they're going to need to try and build and to facilitate, because I think there's going to be an ice dragon. So that's one that I think is realistic, just trying to kind of join the dots from what we already know. So there's a mountain of dragon glass. I think one of the dragons will turn this season, and they'll need to make a big dragon glass arrow for next season to kill that dragon. So remember, you heard it here first, I think. And here's my biggie. I don't think it will happen, but I think it'd be pretty fucking cool. So we see that the White Walkers can bring people back from the death. I think it would be an amazing scene, and I don't think it will happen this season. If it does happen, it will happen next season, where you pan out and you see all the stars of Game of Thrones. You see the likes of Ned Stark, Robb Stark, Joffrey, Tommen, all the stars that have died have been resurrected as White Walkers. I think that would be such a... I don't think it'll happen, but I think that would be such a cool scene. Just seeing all the big players of the past, essentially, coming back as White Walkers. Anyway, that has been my rundown of Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 3. If you like this video, please hit the like button. It really helps with these videos. Again, let me know your thoughts on the episode. Let me know your thoughts on some of the character development we've seen, some of the story development we've seen in this episode. Put those comments in the comment section. Let me know what you thought of the episode overall and what you thought of my review / rundown. If you know people that like Game of Thrones and think they'd be interested in these kind of things, please share and subscribe to my channel where I do these Game of Thrones videos every week. And I've not really been doing movie reviews, but I think I'm going to kind of go and see a lot more movies this week or next. Yeah, that's it. So one more time, like, share, hit subscribe, all that kind of jazz. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at AndolphTheGrey. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you next week.